Welcome into Warchant One-on-One. This is Ira Schoffel, managing editor of warchant.com, and I'm joined today by a special guest, Henri Crockett, who most of you know from his playing days at Florida State in the mid-1990s during the dynasty run. And he and his brother Zach Crockett were key members of Florida State's success in the 1990s. But also, he recently was elected second vice chair of the Orange Bowl committee, which is a big deal because it means within a few years he'll be the president or the chair of the Orange Bowl committee, which is really a great honor. And I think, Henri, if this is right, will you be the first person to have played in the Orange Bowl and actually go on to be chair of the committee?
Yes, I'll be the first person that actually played and to go on and chair, which is, amazing. Never really even thought of it that way, but I always had a special place in my heart for the Orange Bowl because we won our first national championship there. And I was fortunate enough to be able to play in three different Orange Bowl games. So it makes it all more special. It's everything's come full circle.
So you're a South Florida guy. You grew up at you went to Pompano Beach, Ely, which was really a great program produced. Your brother and also Corey Simon and other great athletes. Was the Orange Bowl a stadium you went to as a youth? Were you in that building much growing up?
But as a kid, we never really traveled anywhere, so we always stayed in our 3-mile radius. Right. And that's hence why my brother Zach and I started the Crockett Foundation. So we wanted to be able to get the kids to live outside of their communities, because we recognized that it was we were lacking in exposure and experiences. So that's a little plug for the foundation, is to give you a background of why we do what we do. But no, never did it. Didn't really think about it until we got to Florida State. We knew that at that point in time, you had you had the bowl coalition where they alternated championships between the Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl. We knew that we wanted to be on a New Year's Eve Day bowl. Like, that lets you know that you're at least in the top 4. So that was always our goal, to get to the New Year's Day's bowls. So Orange Bowls happened to be a place that we call home. Because we was there 3 times, and the other 2 times that I was there, because I redshirted 1 year, was in New Orleans, and just fortunate enough to be able to always be in contention for a national championship at Florida State during the 90s. It was a great run, and so to be able to be on the other side of the Orange Bowl and understand the hospitality, how you was treated, and the event that they put on was amazing for us. They always had things for us to do, and they treated us amazing. And then having the opportunity in 2012 to be inducted into the Orange Bowl committee, and then to see the work that's put behind it and the passion that a lot of these C-level individuals in Broward County, Dade, and Palm Beach, how much time they put into it, how much they give of themselves. It was amazing to see it from both sides. And it just made me want to be like, how do I get in line for leadership here? Because I had a very different viewpoint than most of everyone that was there, or had been president or even on the committee, having been and played in the game. So, so every day I'm there, I'm thankful, and and it forces me to think back to those games and what we was doing in those days, and especially when you're doing the hospitality. That was probably one of my funnest parts, being the hospitality chair, going through my process, where you're there to make sure that the team and the staffs have everything they need, that that we put on a good game, we put on a good show, and really just take care of the schools, the university. And so it just it made me really think about when I was there. So it always reminded me, I remember this, I remember these things, although the gifts have gotten a lot better, since I was playing, but we really go above and beyond to make sure the experience that each university that has the opportunity to play in the Orange Bowl, that they really get the Orange Bowl experience. So,
well, I know, there's a lot of talk nationally now, especially among the teams, that are not going to the prestigious bowls, that are not going to the Orange Bowl or the top bowls, or the bowls that are part of the playoff, that, kids now sometimes, don't think the bowls are that important, or aren't as passionate about it. They want to get focused on the NFL. And as I said, obviously the Orange Bowl does a great job, and it's an elite bowl. But it seemed like back in the 90s, it was a huge deal. What was the bowl experience like as a football player at Florida State. Like, how much did you guys look forward to it? And just, are those some of your best memories of college?
Definitely one of our best memories. We would always look forward to the Orange Bowl. Like that was always one of our goals. We got to get down to the Orange Bowl because we always knew that the Orange Bowl was like your roadmap to winning a national championship. Like a lot of back in those days, like the national championship went through those bowls. Or, and you had, you didn't necessarily have to be number one or number two at the time. You go there and put on a good show, put on a good performance, you still had the opportunity to be a co-national championship or at least be, mentioned. So the Orange Bowl game was always relevant, which it is still today, but on the magnitude of that game was just huge. And like to be able to be in that game was a big deal. Like you wanted to be in that game. Like everybody wanted to be in the Orange Bowl. And like I said, like I think it's because of the hospitality that we make a priority to the universities, but more importantly, like the mystique and the ground that's been laid before us. That's part of the committee now. The men that was the founding members, like the importance they put on the game, and it's always shared through the committee, and so it's embedded in what we do. But I just think that we have a great leader in Eric Palms, and his attention to detail and his the way he expects, because you're dealing with a lot of CEOs, but he has a great way of dealing with us. But at the same time, his expectations are always what's best for Orange Bowl, and it kind of rubs down to the committee members. So we like I said, we got great leadership. He's probably the most influential bowl head of a bowl person that's head of a bowl throughout all the bowls. If you look at the Sugar Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, they all look to Eric Palms as like he's the whisperer. Really? We're fortunate enough to really have someone like Eric Palms at the helm here at the Orange Bowl, and it makes our job easier. It makes us want to do more and put on actually a great Orange Bowl for the university. So
yeah, I've had the pleasure of interacting with Eric some, and he's one of those people like you. I mean, you can see him running any Fortune 500 company. Super bright guy, and obviously has done a great job with that bowl. So how did you go from? So you come out of college, you obviously had a decorated career, tremendous success as a player. You get drafted in the NFL, play several years in the NFL, go into business and also your charitable endeavors, as you mentioned. So did you inquire about the Orange Bowl committee when you first got on it, or did they reach out to you, and what did that process start?
I didn't inquire about it, and the process with the Orange Bowl is you can't really inquire about it. We find you. And, yeah, so once I got into my nonprofit work, and I was doing a lot of great things in the South Florida community, and I started really getting known for like the work that I do versus the work that I used to do, was playing football. I had a guy named Toshi Zaki that went to high school with me, and he was already on the Orange Bowl, and he thought I'd be a great addition to the Orange Bowl. So he met with some of the key members there and said he wanted to put me up for Orange Bowl. And so the rest is history of that. So that's how I ended up being on the Orange Bowl. And so it's just been a great ride ever since.
And how many years have you been doing it now?
10 years.
10 years, wow. And there's a lot of great Noles. That committee, it's always seems like it's a good mix of Canes, Noles, and Gators. Sean Pittman was chair, right. Big Nole. I think Les Pantene Sr. was the chair not too long ago. So is how much of that banter goes on between the committee members?
It's a lot of banter goes on. Like especially the Gators, like what I said, Eric Palms is an amazing man. He just made one mistake. He went to the University of Florida. There's a lot of banter that goes on, especially in the meetings. They have a way of making things like, especially we get ready for bowl week, and especially if Florida State is in the bowl, like we give each other hard times, but it's all fun. It's all and good fun. But it's pretty cool to, you have a lot of people on this. You have people from Clemson on there, and Jack Sowers from Notre Dame. So we have a lot of people on the Orange Bowl, Ohio State, Jesse Tyson, Ohio State. So we have a lot of people from different, major programs that serves on the Orange Bowl committee, which allows for a lot of banter but it's great, man. Like I said, we got a great committee. We got a great group of guys that really, really, really care about the community. And a lot of times people don't realize, like even myself, all the work that I do in the community, the Orange Bowl does. We do so many things in the community. Like, our legacy gifts. Like we just finished Mitchell Moore Park in Pompano Beach, which is special to me because that's the park I grew up on playing.
Wow.
We did a park in Belglade, and we have a lot of different parks, and Miami Gardens. We have a lot of different parks that we're on, and it's a huge investment to the community. And the Carter Park off of Sunrise Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale was J.C. Carter, who ran track at Florida State. It's named after his dad. We redid that park. And when we go into these communities and to be able to make this large investment and partner with the college playoffs to be able to make these huge investments, you breathe life into these communities that need it. And then we turn these parks into places where families can come and enjoy watching their kids play, but it's a opportunity for them to have a good time and hang out and spend time and do things as a family. So that's one of the things that we're really proud of. And then, our outreach that we do in the community and understanding what the need of the community is. We do a really good job at going into the communities and meeting with the persons that are making a lot of decisions and not coming and just trying to force our ideas, but we kind of find out what does the community need, and we do our best to provide that, from Little League football, to into the elementary schools, the media makeovers. So, you really have to take your hat off to the committee members and Eric Palms and his staff, because we really do a lot for the South Florida community and the Tri-County between Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward, which is unmatched to all the other bowls. You look at the other bowls, they don't have the plethora of community events that we do. They're not as tied to the community. They do a big event, which is maybe the Rose Bowl or Sugar Bowl, but we do things throughout the year that, really affect change in the community. And the cool thing about our community members, we all have a passion to serve. And I think that's what makes it enjoyable, the give back, because you got to realize none of you guys get a salary. Everybody is volunteering their time, even down to when the teams that come here to stand behind the bar and serve them drinks. You got C-level guys serving, and so the humility from these individuals is always inspiring, man. So like I said, the Orange Bowl is an amazing organization to be a part of and have the opportunity to be able to lead. I think it's unmatched to a lot of the things I've done in my life, and to be able to do it at the Orange Bowl, a place where I played for the national championship, won it, and at Florida State. So, like I said, it's come full circle. I'm so honored to even be in this position. And I had a lot of help from, a lot of people like Sean Pittman. Even Sean Pittman was the first person that really pushed me and make me think bigger, hey, he was president. He said, I want you to run for the board. Wow. I was young. You think I run for the board? He was like, I think you don't realize the light that people see you in. So yes, run for the board. And I ran for the board and I won, and I was able to get on the board. And that was the first time that I realized that, what, I have an opportunity in leadership, and I have to give thanks to Sean Pittman for that. And Sean has mentored me through this whole process. Al Dodson Jr. has been amazing with just always letting me know the right steps to take, make sure you're doing these certain things. And so I've had a lot of great mentorship between Sean Pittman, Al Dodson, Jesse Tyson, our past president, Jeff, from last year. Jeff has been amazing, although he was the president during the pandemic year. And he still was very selfless in spending time with me and making sure that, I was doing the correct things, and, and not even about running Orange, being in leadership for Orange Bowl, but Jeff was just really great at just making sure that I was being the best Orange Bowl committee member I could be, which I was always very appreciative with Jeff doing that. And he will go down as one of the most selfless presidents that we've had here at the Orange Bowl. and I can go on and talking about the men and at the Orange Bowl and how they've impacted me on a day-to-day basis. And so I get a front seat to see a lot of, you know, influential individuals, you know, how they operate and, you know, how they put Orange Bowl first or how they put other individuals first and how they mentor and give back. And so, especially in my arena, is great because I do it on a daily basis. You know what I mean? I serve a cause that's greater than myself. And to be able to go to another nonprofit that's like, you know, probably one of the most prestigious nonprofits, and it was definitely in all of South Florida, but around the country that's well known, to get opportunity to learn from a lot of people and, you know, take things from, you know, Sean or take things from Al Dotson or take things from Jeff or even me and Eric Palm spend a lot of time, especially when we go out to the ACC championships and you get an opportunity to pick his brain about how he do certain things because he's very meticulous, very detail oriented, and it helps out and just in life in general. You know.
So it's interesting to me that, you know, where you came from, you and your brother, and also, you know, as I mentioned, Corey Simon. Corey now runs Volunteer Florida for the state of Florida.
Yeah. I serve on his board.
Do you?
He asked me to serve on the board, so I got appointed by the governor to serve on Volunteer Florida board, be one of the commissioners. He's doing an amazing job. I had the opportunity to, you know, really sit back and see how Corey runs his meetings and how his staff reacts to him. Just so proud of him. Like we both come from Pompano, we both come from humbling beginnings.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is you guys came from a, you know, I mean, it was tough. Were you guys? What made you want to? Did you know back then that you'd want to give back? Because like you said, you have your own charities and besides these other things you're doing.
You know, we had like, you know, for me, I had Mr. Jones. I had Mr. Jones, Mr. Leverett. I had some, which is our principal and assistant principal at Ely High School. So I had a lot of great mentors. And for Corey, it was Coach Weaver. You know, we had a lot of strong men in our lives that really mentored us, really just gave to us, you know, and they showed such great humility and they always put us first. So we always felt that it was important for us to, you know, assume some of those leadership qualities that they gave us. And the thing that stands out when I see Corey run Volunteer Florida and he looks at everything as a partnership. It's not like I'm your boss. Like we work together. We in it together to see that inclusiveness, that, you know, willing to collaborate. It's not about me. How can I help? You know, these are all the things that comes out of Corey Simon's mouth, which it makes me proud because that's how I operate as well. So when I think about it, it goes back to how we was raised. It goes back to honoring the people that paved the way for us, that invested in us and showed us that, you know, in order for to be successful, you're gonna have to learn how to work with other people. When you get in a position, you make sure you pull people with you. You know, people got to be willing to run through a wall for you, and that's leadership. You know, so it's just like I say, I'm just like every time, you know, I get goosebumps even talking about it right now. Like this, and then, you know, I'm humbled when I was asked to be on the board and to serve alongside John Davis, who's head of the lottery. And, you know, John Davis was one of my mentors in college who sat me down on his couch many a night. And, you know, when things weren't going right my freshman year and I wanted to go home, John Davis was one that I leaned on and he taught me out of it. He gave me great advice. So to see all those things come full circle, to see the position that these individuals are in and how they command the room and the leadership qualities they have and that they had when we was in college. And I always say that team that we had at Florida State, you know, Coach Bowden and Coach Andrews and, you know, Coach Amato and Coach Rick and all these individuals that played a part in our lives, like, you know, they really did a good job at going after good men. Mm-hmm. And so when I look at these recruiting processes now, like, and I look at our room, and especially in the linebacker room, everybody was academic scholars. Like, you didn't just go after the kid that he has a lot of talent, but he has a lot of character flaws. Everybody on that team had high character.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever we got into tough situations, that character always rose to the occasion, you know. And like I said, I get chills thinking about it. And now, like, we thrive for bad situations. Like, I can't remember a situation where the offense turned the ball over and gave us bad field position. Like, we were so excited to take the field because we always thought that was a challenge, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and so, but it was the character of those men in the room, and you see it now, like with Derrick Brooks. You see it now with, you know, Sean Hamlet, who's, you know, he's goes around the country, open up a lot of the Jersey Mikes and the leadership that he has. And, you know, he was my classmate, the Corey Simons, Volunteer Florida, John Davis, and the list goes on.
Yeah, the guys that came after you, Peter Boulware, Chris
Peter
Hope. I mean, there's so many
Boulware,
guys that have done great things.
Andre Wadsworth, like, these guys are all CEO level guys, and our leadership is all the same. How can I help? You know, you call these guys, and no, this is no exaggeration. Before we get off the phone, is there anything I can do for you? How can I help? And that's the spirit that we all share. You know, and I think that's, you know, it's amazing that to this day you still have those same conversations.
Mm-hmm.
How can I help? You know, is there anything I can do for you? You know, so it's no wonder that a lot of us are in the position that we're in, because we've had amazing mentorship. We were surrounded by great leaders in Coach Bowden and Mickey Andrews, and Chuck Amados. You know, God, man, the Coach Scott. You know, the guys that was just, you know, there. Like, even to this day, like, Odell is still there. When Odell came back he was like juniors in college. To see Odell is still around. Odell had those. Coach Higgins has that leadership quality and to take charge. You know, we're never out of it. You know, so I'm hoping, you know, that we get back to that, and I think it goes back to the kid. What are you looking for? You know, I'm excited about the coach that we have there now. I had an opportunity to meet and talk with him at the ACC Championship awards night. I'm excited about the direction he's going in. I'm excited about his leadership qualities. I'm excited about him changing the culture there and understanding that it's going to take time. And he's doing what he has to do to get the right kids in the organization that you can be proud of, you know, because they are a representation of not just the past players, but the current university. And so I'm just extremely excited about the future. You know, I think, you know, give us a couple of years, and hopefully by the time I'm president, you know, we'll be in the national championship game. Well, I you know, that'll just be the icing on the cake for me. But like I said, especially with the guys, so getting back to Corey, and, you know, his leadership is unmatched, and I'm, like I said, I'm fortunate to have a front row seat as being one of his elected board members to see his process and you know what he's doing. So
one of the, you know, the thing when you talk about those teams and the players you guys were able to bring in the 90s, well, starting in the late 80s and then going to the 90s, is, you know, they could get the best of the best. You know, they didn't have to just get good athletes who had character problems or, you know, smart kids that weren't athletic enough. But, you know, right now Florida State is kind of in the place where they can't get the best of the best. The kids who are the best athletes, who also are very smart and also have high character, you know, it's hard for a school like Florida State to get those types of players. So it seems like, you know, as a coaching staff right now, they have to kind of make it work with what they can get. So, and I know you are passionate, you know, you watch every game and you're passionate about the team. How long of a process can that be? And can people be patient? Can you, as a former player, be patient knowing that, you know, they probably don't have all the quality of players right now that they need to have?
You know, I think the cool thing about sports and for me is like I really enjoy the process, man. You know, I speak to my son about this all the time right now. You gotta fall in love with this process. And I think it's not always the top rated guy, you know, or you know, it's that 2 or 3 star that you might have to develop that might take
Mhm.
a year. Let's not forget, like Peter Bower, redshirted.
Mhm.
Andre Wadsworth was a walk on.
Right.
You know, man, Shevin Smith was a walk on. Like a lot of, I mean, you mix it, man. We always gonna get our 5-star guys.
Right.
It's those guys like the Todd Reballs that I was highly rated. You know, I didn't even know who Todd Reball was. You know what I mean? Like, I met him in camp in the Florida Georgia game with Travis Sherman. You know, you know, you find those guys like that, the undersized guy that everybody is not really that high on. That Todd Reball came in and hell, Coach Bowden wrote about me in his book. Todd Reball ended up starting as a true freshman.
Mhm.
And here I am, redshirt. We need to find those guys.
Right.
We need the Todd Reballs of the world. Like we need to Andre Wadsworth of the world. We need the Peter Bowares. You know, we don't have to get the top guys. But what we do have to do is we have to do a good job at working with them and turn them into the players that we want them to be. See, I think what we've gotten, and not just Florida State, but just a lot of organizations that we've gotten spoiled. Like we want the ready-made guy. We don't want to invest the time and build these kids up. Man, you have to really get these kids in here. You got to mold them to what you want. It's there, but we just got to be willing to, go through that process with them. And I think that's what we have right now. The process, we can go into the portal and get some guys that want to transfer out that can probably help us right now. They give us a buy for the time to bring the guys along that probably need a year or two to develop their body, but high character. I think the approach is different. If we want to build something that's sustainable, like how we did throughout the years, like I mean, Sam Cowell redshirted. Like I mean, we had guys that you got to come in and you have to work with them. And the problem is everyone sees the end results and they think that, oh, that guy was a 5-star. No, he wasn't no damn 5-star. Like, we worked with them and we turned him into that. The culture changed him. Like he bought in.
But when you step foot on campus, and I know when Zach was already here, but like there was an expectation. I'm guessing when you walked in, you knew how to handle yourself. I mean, they made it clear how you had to handle yourself, right? I mean, like that culture part, because I think people sometimes they don't know what culture means. Can you sense that when you come into a program that okay, this is how things are done?
You can sense it. You can sense it when you have strong leaders in there. You have strong character, high character guys in it. This is how we do. This is how we go about our business. And you got to have that no matter what. You could be 0-12, but our leadership is so strong and so tight. Eventually, those turn into wins. They turn into wins, and a lot of times the ones that's really changing the culture, they might not be there to see it change.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that 2 or 3 years under them that they've helped mold them, and they will come back and through those guys, they'll see a lot of the works that they've done. And I think that's what we're doing now. I had dinner with the new AD 2 weeks ago. We had the ACC Winter Conference here in Miami, and so we talked about it, and I just talked to him about the process and being patient. Because for me, I gotta playing this game. I see things a little different, so I'm able to pick up on some of the small things that probably most people don't pick up on. And as the season went on, we got better and better. Like in the beginning, we started off great against Notre Dame. Then we had a letdown the following week. Because when things are not a habit yet, you don't have the ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
But towards the end of the year, you saw things become more of a habit. So you start seeing more consistency. The defense not having as many mental breakdowns, and so we got stronger as the year went on. The play got better. So I'm excited to see that how that growth continues this year coming, or even in spring practice. And I think even spring practice got to be more competitive. I think spring practice is turning more into a showcase. So I think we need to get back to competing. Like when I play, you can lose your job in spring practice. No one was like walking around not practicing because they feel like their position is like lock and key. Nah, we didn't do that. I mean, you competed, like everyone was competing for that job. And I think we have to really turn spring practice back into a competitive process versus a showcase. Like we are here trying to figure out who we're going to war with next year. And you know what? And the next man up got to be a half a step off from the head guy. And we don't care who you are. We don't care what your stars are. Like when I came in, I would have been a 5-star, and Tariq would have been a 2-3 star. And he outplayed me because his work ethic was better. He had better knowledge of the game. He was a better football player than me at that time. But I had more hype than he had. So we don't care about your stars. You know, we trying to build a program here, and we care about who is executing at the highest level right now. That's who's going to play. And I think we get back to creating an environment, which I think we are. I think we're going to see a major change.
Awesome, man. It's when you were saying that about how competitive spring practice was, the first thing I thought of was I actually just heard Coach Norvell say a couple of weeks ago that this was going to be, he was looking forward to this spring because now they finally have, enough guys enough guys, they've done enough with the roster that this is going to be their most competitive spring since he's been here. And, that sounds like that's what you need to do to kind of put things into place for this fall. So it should be exciting, and it's going to be a great schedule. They got LSU over in New Orleans, which is going to be fun, and some other big time games. So like you said, they got a couple more years till you're running the Orange Bowl committee, and maybe by then they'll be rolling as well.
So I got to tell Coach Norvell, listen, man, 3 years or 25 national champions being in South Florida, I need him, put that on his calendar. Destination. Coach Norvell, I'm telling you, listen, put that on the destination. I need you in Miami with a national championship.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. Well, thanks, Henry. I appreciate your time, man, as always, and best to you and your family and Zach and everybody down in South Florida. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
All right, thank you so much, man, for having me. I really appreciate you reaching out. I want to do this and speak with me about this and get my point of view of what the Orange Bowl means to me and getting it from both sides. So I just really thank you for taking the time, and Warchant for really reaching out. You guys have always been a blessing, and not just to Florida State, but to me as well. So thank you, man.
Thanks, man. Congratulations on all you guys do. I just want to throw one more thing about those parks. You mentioned them earlier. I have seen them in the communities you guys have done them in is amazing. You've gone into these really, communities that don't have a lot, and you've done a lot for them. So we appreciate what you guys do as well. Thanks a lot, Henry. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ira. Have a good day, bud.